Hey everyone, welcome to another Life and Student Ministry video post. My name is Tim Schmoyer and I'm hanging out with Bob Stromberg, master comedian. He just did an amazing show here at our church tonight. And I wanted to pick his brain and get some advice from you, Bob. One of the things that youth pastors do a lot is we tell stories. Yep. You know, whether it's a Bible story, where like when we're teaching, or it's an illustration while like in a message we're given. And so I wanted to hear some insight from you, since you are definitely a master storyteller. Any tips or advice or wisdom you have for us youth workers who are just, you know, telling stories all the time? How can we be better in how we craft our stories?
Well, here's a few thoughts. Okay. First of all, you want to tell a story like you. You don't want to tell a story like myself, or like, oh, I want to tell a story like Ken Davis or somebody.
Right. Yeah.
You want to find your own style. You want to find what it is about your face and about your body and about your voice that works for telling stories. And I guess I don't have a lot of tips about that. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are things, obviously there are communication things in any communication course you take, like eye contact. You want to make sure that you're looking at your audience. You want to make sure that you're not just looking at the same place all the time, but you're covering your audience, even if you can't see in the eyes that you're doing that, right, so that people feel like you're talking to them. Right. And of course, if you're working on with a jumbotron or something behind you, you want to actually occasionally look right in that camera so that people feel like you're looking at them. It feels weird to do that because
right,
when you're looking at a camera, you're not even looking at somebody.
Yeah.
But it reads to everybody in the audience like you are. So there are little techniques like that you can go through a bunch of those. But even more important than that is the process of getting the story. What is a story worth telling?
Yeah.
Why would you want to tell a particular story? And some people would say, well, you know, I just don't have that knack. And I would like to suggest to you that you can get it. You notice how I said that, how I pronounced that?
Well, I also noticed that you were you emphasized those words too. Yeah, so it's like even subtle things like that.
Yeah, but did you know how I said you can get it?
Get it?
You can get it.
You can get it, like get her done.
Get is spelled G-I-T. You can get it. And get stands for, that's it. What is that? One of those
acronyms?
Acronyms. I was going to say an anachronism. It's an acronym. It's an acronym, which means first you need to grab it. Second, you interrogate it. And third, you transform it. Okay, what do I mean by that? Okay, number one, you grab it. You grab anything. When you hear a story, you watch a film, something happens in your own life, you hear a story about somebody else's life, if it moves you emotionally in any way, and when I say emotionally, I mean the whole range of your emotions. If it just, oh, I thought I was going to burst out crying when I heard that, or that just cracked me up. Those are both emotions. So right, it can be a very humorous story, a very moving story, or anything in between. Anything that moves you emotionally, you grab it. And when I say grab it, I mean you need to grab it so you don't lose it. You put it in your computer, you write it down. It used to be you put them in a shoebox, little notes, whatever you have, but I would suggest, of course, now you put it in the computer because you can type in any word from it and it'll pop up in these programs. You grab it so that you won't lose it. Number two, you interrogate it. This is a longer process, and that is the process of saying over and over again, God, what does this story mean? What does it mean? Why did this move me? And you keep coming back to it. Why did it move me? Lots of times you'll be kind of you'll be tempted to jump ahead and say, I can make this story mean something. Better to just be patient and keep praying. God, what does this mean? And then you review the story again. Why did it move me? Why is it still moving me? And through the power of the Holy Spirit and your creative mind, at some point, it will become clear. Oh, that's what it is. So you've grabbed it, so you wouldn't lose it. You interrogate it over and over again. What does it mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Why does it move me? And then you transform it. And the transforming thing is really the rehearsal process. A lot of people, and I know this is true for some people watching this video, and it's been true for me sometimes in the past. You go, oh, that was such a funny story I heard the other day. I'll tell that tonight to the kids. And then you find out it doesn't go so well. And the reason it doesn't go so well is because you didn't even rehearse the story. I mean, go through, rehearse it. I would even suggest typing it out. I often do this where I go, okay, I think I've got it. I think I've got it organized. And then I go in and I actually do a manuscript of something you would never guess when you see it's done, that I actually would have put it in manuscript. But I did it so that as a part of the organizational, as a part of the rehearsal process.
So you memorize it word for word? And
Well,
then you just
yeah, it depends on the story.
Okay.
Some stories you go, I want this phrase. I don't want to lose this phrase, the way that I had those words together.
Yeah.
And then you want to memorize those word for
like
word.
we have like a certain like transition or punchline.
That's right. I want to get that transition. I did a thing, was in California this last week, and I had the conclusion, and I had it worded so nicely, and I'm going, I'm going to forget this.
Yeah.
So when I went on before I went on the airplane, I put it in and I typed it up so that several times on the airplane I go, okay, I got it. I've got the right phrasing to pull this whole thing together.
And do you remember when you got up there?
Oh yes.
Okay, because that's usually my problem. It's like, man, I worked so hard, and then it's like,
well, that happens too. That happens too.
Like,
so you grab it, you interrogate it through your creative thinking and the Holy Spirit. The meaning of it will come. You go, okay, this is why I want to tell this story. This is what it means. This is what this illustration means.
Right.
And then you transform it, which is you. It's nothing if it's just sitting there. You need to transform it into a piece of art. That's what story is, if done well. You transform it by rehearsing it, by manuscripting it, by speaking it over and over again. If this is the kind of thing that you might have the chance to do many, many times, every time you do it is another process of transforming it and getting closer and closer to making the story really what it should be.
What are some of those things, like when you're rehearsing it, what are some of those things you should be looking for? Like where to put pauses, when to emphasize, how to use, like, I know this is like way much bigger than the time we have for it, but do you have any quick like suggestions for like pausing right before a punchline, or is it just kind of like I try to be excited and like open my eyes wide when it's something that's like exciting in the story, but
yeah, I wish I could be more
totally
helpful. I wish I could be more helpful. At some point, when you start to get experienced at this, you know your own rhythms. You know the things about your body and your face that will make this work.
Right.
So if there's a punchline, sometimes before a punchline. Well, like I did a punchline tonight, which I did it for one of the first times ever, and talking about being a grandparent. And I said, I told my son, I thought I loved you with my whole heart. But apparently not. Until you had your babies, I didn't know I had this extra 3/4. That works for me.
Right.
That's my style.
Right.
But
I noticed
that
you
long
pause right before the punch, like it's sinking in, and bam.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think most, even at that point, are thinking I'm going to say this extra little piece or something. I'm looking, what is the word? 3/4. It's a nice, funny laugh. But that's my style, and it could be done other ways too.
So rehearsing maybe sometimes in front of a mirror. Do you ever do that? Does that help sometimes?
Well, I don't, because I'd never do it if I looked at myself that much.
Laugh.
But yeah, video's a great way to rehearse, by the way. And yeah, I think a mirror can be helpful, but I tend not to. That doesn't work so well for me.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I start looking at myself too much.
Well, cool. I hope these have been helpful for you from the master storyteller himself. If you guys want to find out more about it, you go to bobstromberg.com.
You bet.
And there's lots of great videos on YouTube, and you'll see them at National Youth Workers Convention.
Check out my blog, Life on the Carousel. I'd love for you guys and women to read that. I would love for you to read that.
Yeah, cool. It'll be in Atlanta this year at the National Youth Workers Convention, so we can look forward to seeing it. So, thanks for hanging out with us for another Life and Student Ministry video post, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.